Sometimes the support you already have for anxiety, it just doesn't feel like it's enough anymore. And that can be a really frustrating place to find yourself. But what if that feeling is actually a sign? A sign that maybe it's time to explore a completely new layer of support. Let's dive into that. You know that feeling, right? Where the dose that once really helped now seems to do just a little bit less. That familiar sense of worry might creep back in a little faster, and the nights, they can start to feel a lot longer again. It's almost like your own sense of calm has just moved a little further out of reach. And when that happens, a quiet question usually starts to form in the back of your mind. You start to wonder, is there another way? Is there something else I can do to support my body's own rhythm without just adding another pill to my routine? Now look, this isn't about blaming medication. For so many people, it's been a truly helpful tool. But when a familiar pattern of anxiety keeps returning, it's actually really smart to ask if your body might need a different kind of support. Not something stronger, but just something different. And of course, just one calm, clear, but really important point here. If you happen to be taking anxiety medication, especially something like a benzodiazepine, please do not stop suddenly. Any and all changes should always be guided by your prescriber. So let's explore that different perspective. Traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, looks at anxiety through a much wider lens. It doesn't see it as just one single problem. Instead, it sees it as a symptom that can pop up from a few different root patterns happening inside the body. Okay, so for some people, anxiety might come from what TCM calls liver qi stagnation. This is that tight, frustrated, almost wired feeling you get, like energy is just stuck and can't flow smoothly. It's kind of like being stuck in an internal traffic jam. For others, it might be more of a Heart-Shen disturbance. You know what I'm talking about? That restless mind that just refuses to switch off at night. It's constantly replaying conversations and worries when all you want to do is get some sleep. Then you've got spleen deficiency. This pattern is often connected to that circular overthinking, where worry just goes around and around and around, totally draining your energy but never actually getting anywhere. And finally, there's a kidney fear pattern. This one can show up as this deep underlying sense of not being safe, almost a dread, like something is just wrong. And it can feel a lot worse at night. So the main idea here is that because different people can have different roots for their anxiety, the support should really look beyond just a single symptom. So how can we start to support these different root patterns? Well, this is where the Emotional Balance Herbal Pouch comes into the picture. It's a 100% natural herbal pouch, and it's designed to work specifically within that TCM framework to support the body's underlying patterns. And here's what's really fascinating about its application. Absolutely nothing is swallowed. There are no pills, no teas you have to drink, no injections. This is a completely external approach. And what that means is there's no new oral burden. I mean, for anyone who is already trying to manage a schedule of medications or supplements, that practical difference can be a huge relief. So how does it actually work? Well, it's a simple, consistent routine that centers on the navel. In TCM, the navel, which is called Shenque or CV-8, is seen as this really central, powerful point for supporting the body's internal rhythm and balance. And the routine itself is just incredibly straightforward. You simply place the flat cloth pouch right at your navel, secure it comfortably under your clothes, and then you just wear it as you go about your day or as you sleep. Each pouch is used for up to 72 hours, and then you just replace it with a fresh one. This brings us to a really crucial idea. This is not about forcing some choice between medication and a natural approach. It's about building a more complete, a calmer support structure where different tools can actually work together, each playing its own unique role. And this slide lays out the difference perfectly. Medication, as you can see, generally works through a very specific biochemical pathway, right? It often targets the symptoms directly. The herbal pouch, though, it's working from a whole different playbook. It's operating within that TCM framework we've been talking about, supporting the balance of the body's patterns all through that external navel application. They're just different pathways, playing different roles. And understanding this allows for a really powerful psychological shift. Instead of feeling trapped and asking, "Ugh, do I need more medication?" you can start to ask a different, much more empowering question. What support layer is missing? Maybe, just maybe, that missing layer isn't another pill at all. And there's some really interesting research that supports this approach. A case series from Wang in 2025, which was described by 5 Essences, looked at 7 patients using this exact navel-applied herbal pouch therapy. The results were pretty striking. All 7 reported a significant reduction in anxiety within just 30 days, and there were 0 adverse events. Now, it's a small study for sure, but these are real-world observations that make a pretty compelling case to take a closer look. So if you do decide to explore this, the first month is really all about gentle observation. In the first 10 days or so, you might just notice subtle shifts, maybe in your sleep or the tension in your shoulders, or that background hum of worry. By days 11 to 20, you might notice how quickly you bounce back after something stressful happens. And by the end of the month, you can just check in and see if your overall emotional rhythm feels a little bit steadier. And the whole philosophy here is really key. The goal isn't to force a state of calm onto the body. It can't work that way. Instead, the goal is to gently support the body's own ability to find its way back to a calmer pattern. So as we start to wrap up, I just want you to remember that support doesn't always have to be complicated to be meaningful. Sometimes a simple, consistent routine can be the exact layer of support that was missing all along. So just to recap, the Emotional Balance Herbal Pouch offers a 100% natural external routine. It's applied right at the navel, and it's designed for people who are looking for anxiety support without adding another oral product to their day. You can learn more about it over at 5essences.store. But ultimately, the most important thing is that this approach makes sense to you. Just let the structure of it sink in. Think about the logic, the different pathways of support, and then you can decide for yourself if this is a next step that feels right for you to explore.